What's going on, everyone? It's Edible Incredible, and today I'll be discussing something that was completely absent in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that's Link's companion. Throughout the series, many personalities have adventured alongside our hero, from fairies to hats to boats to even floating computers. Fee, bring Skyward Sword to the Switch, at least you wouldn't have to worry about batteries dying anymore. Anyway, I'll be ranking my top 5 companions. Let me know who is your favorite, and without further ado, let's get into it. To start off the list, I'll actually be diving into a Game Boy Advance Zelda game. Back in the early 2000s, after the cel-shaded look of the Wind Waker was highly criticized, Capcom and Flagship worked together to make another Zelda game using the similar Toon Link design that began in the Wind Waker. However, this was in 2D and was back in the world of Hyrule. This was the Minish Cap. Link's iconic green cap is actually missing to start off his adventure. After the introduction scenes, he runs into his companion in the Minish Woods, Ezlo, who completes Link's iconic look with that sweet green hat. He is quite an interesting character in the game's plot since he was Vaati's master before the events of the game. Ezlo and Vaati are both Minish, and Ezlo was an excellent craftsman. He created a cap that gave the user anything he or she desires. Vaati took advantage of his master's creation and used his cap for his own evil plans. He cursed Ezlo, turning him into a green hat that you see now. It's a tragic tale for him since I'm sure he feels regret in creating that magical cap. This specific reason is why Ezlo made this list for me. I won't spoil the end to the Minish Cap, however, if you haven't played it, I feel it's a great introduction to the classic feeling 2D Zelda games. Number 4 comes from the widely debated Twilight Princess, which released back in 2006. Many adore this Zelda title, but just as many dislike it. The majority of people though love the character of Midna. Just because I have her at number 4 doesn't mean I don't, because I certainly do. Her character development alone is top notch. She greets you while you're locked up as Wolf Link. You're not even sure if she can be trusted with this mysterious design. However, the more you progress through the game, the more relatable she becomes. I feel at first she's just using Link for her own means, but after you save her from the brink of death, she really seems to appreciate you. She doesn't just turn into a lovable character, but also a strong personality as well. Her home is the Twilight Realm along with Zant. Zant obtains substantial power from Ganondorf, turning Midna into the design you see throughout the playthrough. Yep, that's right, this isn't even her true form, which if you haven't, you need to beat this game to discover that for yourself. The ending scenes are more than rewarding after a long adventure, and trust me, it's quite a long game. Maybe a tad too long in my opinion, but Midna, her character alone is worth the journey. Now it's time to talk about that cel-shaded Zelda game back in 2002, The Wind Waker. It's gorgeous, however its backstory is deadly and depressing. A lot of this is told through the King of Red Lions. Yep, it's that red talking boat. But just like the art style of The Wind Waker, once you dive deeper into its story, it reveals those dark undertones along with Link's companion. Spoiler alert, the talking boat was indeed the King of Hyrule back during the events of Ocarina of Time. I don't think this is 100% proven to be true, but he at the very least was the king during the Great Flood incident. Either way, him being an old King of Hyrule is enough to make this list. Come on, how cool is that? Having the ghost of a forgotten king as your trusty sidekick? Job well done, Nintendo. Once again, spoiler alert for a 16-year-old game, but just as Ganondorf is about to make his lifelong wish come true to rule Hyrule once more, the king steps in his way and literally rewrites history, abandoning his long-lost home of Hyrule for the greater good. What a way to go out, King Daphnis no Hansen Hyrule. I'll never forget your sacrifice. Now, onto Skyward Sword for number 2. I believe Fee is a very underrated character. Yes, I pronounce it as Fee and not Fi, but does that really affect anything? I believe not, as remember guys, Zelda games are created first in a completely other language, so pronunciations in this language are very much up to interpretation. Anyways, you meet Fi on Skyloft, and it's towards the beginning of the game. She's quite the mysterious character at first, with her floating ability and odd tone of voice. But this is a great way to introduce her. Sure, she can be extremely annoying at times, but what Zelda Companion isn't at least slightly a nuisance? Their role to guide the player along has always been the main reason for a companion in Zelda games. Maybe that's why they ditched this in Breath of the Wild to truly feel the sense of openness and to literally do as you please. Honestly, I hope the companions come back to the next big Zelda game, as most were fabulous characters. And Fi goes along right with that statement. As you journey with her, she feels only like another companion, but approaching the finale of Skyward Sword, she slaps you in the feels with this deeply emotional moment. After defeating the demon Demise, Fi decides, or maybe it really wasn't a decision on her part, to slumber within the Master Sword for eternity, as she may have been programmed to do so before the events of Skyward Sword. But either way, every companion of Link's usually leaves him in the end. Fi, on the other hand, doesn't just leave, but scars you with this sense of humanity she lacked throughout the adventure. She informs Link the information she's gathered is the most precious of data she's recorded. You can actually sense her feelings as she leaves you forever. May we meet again in another life. Man, what an epic quote. Fi, don't listen to those Skyward Sword haters. Your story is amazing. And finally, time for number 1. You all probably see this coming if you know the widely known Zelda companion that I haven't mentioned yet. Oh boy, I can't wait to see the comments on this one. But my number 1 Legend of Zelda companion is Ganondorf. Just kidding, I wish he was a companion in one of the games, that'd be super interesting. But seriously, my number 1 is Navi from Ocarina of Time. I know what you may be thinking, really, Navi at number 1? I know people tend to poke fun at her, but just hear me out and you might just look at Navi in a different light. Sure, she's just a fairy as her design, but she means so much more than just a fairy to the hero of time. Let's dive back to 1998 when Ocarina of Time released on the 64. The game begins with Navi waking up Link, just like any other Zelda game where Link wakes up to start his quest. However, this first encounter he has with Navi is a whole lot more important to him than you might think. Remember, before this, Link was a part of the Kokiri, who are known to each have their own fairy. Sadly, Link never had a fairy growing up, so it's been speculated that he was cast aside by his only friends. And it appeared that Saria was his true friend through this, as they seem to have a very deep relationship. Right when your adventure begins, Saria is overjoyed that you finally have a fairy. She even states how happy she is for you. On the other hand, Mido isn't happy at all, since he doesn't even allow you to see the Deku Tree right off the bat. He still casts you aside like you don't even belong, which ironically enough, Link technically doesn't belong, but that's another topic. Fast forward to Link pulling the Master Sword, and once he travels back to his home of the Kokiri Forest, he isn't even recognized by anyone. Saria becomes a sage, so that friendship, or whatever it was, is thrown out the window. Sure, Link makes friends along the way like Milan, who I believe he settles down with in the future. But for now, Link lost his only true friend in life, and that was Saria. Remember, Navi was made by the hands of the Deku Tree, who after all was Link's only father figure throughout his childhood. Since we know his mother died while giving birth to him, I'm sure Link feels connected with Navi since the Deku Tree created her. Also because Navi is the only one who sticks beside Link, never leaving his side, dedicated to saving the land, and in that sense, they are alike. This relationship he grows with Navi is what keeps him going. Fast forward one more time to after stealing Ganondorf and placing the Master Sword to rest. Navi mysteriously leaves Link without saying a word. The reason she did this is still speculated by fans 20 years later. I believe Navi leaving sparked the hero shade side of Link, the regretful and depressed side we see in Twilight Princess. After informing Zelda of the future events, Link sets out with only one goal in mind, and that's to find his beloved Navi. If you think about it, purely story-wise, Majora's Mask never would have been a thing without Navi leaving Link. She sparked an entire game's creation that many fans hold as their favorite game in the franchise. I'm sorry, Navi haters, but I can't lie to myself. She's my favorite Zelda companion and most likely always will be. So that's my list, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it, and let me know not just who your favorite companion is, but also if you want a companion to return in the next big Zelda game. Since honestly, I don't count Wolf Link as a Breath of the Wild companion because he's only unlocked through Amiibo, and due to him having no character development like previous companions of the series. Anyways, I hope you all stay hype, my homies. Damn, you watched this for 10 minutes? You a true homie. Peace!